Hey guys, welcome back. You have been missed. Today we're going to talk about viruses. It is a part of our curriculum for biology, and so you probably know a lot about them just based on what you've seen on the news and what you've already experienced. And so we are going to talk about the stuff that you're required to know for our course. And one of those things is, what are they made of? Well, they're made of the blue being genetic material, either DNA or RNA, and protein. And so all the other colors are different types of protein. And this specific virus in the middle is one that infects bacteria. And so they are not alive. And the reason we say they're not alive is because they don't do things that living things require. Like, they don't eat, they don't respond to stimuli. So if I touched them, if I poked them, shined something at them, they're not going to respond. They also can't reproduce on their own. So in order to make more, they have to get into a cell and take over the machinery. They're also not made of cells, so all living things are made of one or many cells, and they don't grow and develop like we do. So just quick recap on the viruses are not alive thing. They are not alive. Alright, so again, just to recap, viruses are made of protein, and proteins are made of amino acids. And so we talked about this earlier in the year. And also, viruses are made of genetic material, DNA or RNA. And DNA we have in our nucleus, it's our instructions. And then we talked about RNA and its role to help make proteins, and also the fact that it makes up ribosomes, which are going to make the proteins and the viruses are going to use. So watch this video and they'll give you some really cool visuals and more information on what I just told you.
The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses.
Okay, so there are a lot of different types of viruses. There are types that infect bacteria, that infect us, that infect every type of animal or even fungi. And so this little video clip is going to go over just how many different types there are.
There's nothing more numerous than viruses in life. Nothing at all. There are maybe 10 to the 30th power viruses, maybe 10 to the 31st power viruses on Earth. That's a 1 with 30 or 31 zeros after it. If you were to stack all those viruses up from end to end, they would stretch for tens of millions of light years. There are just an incredible number of viruses, more than we can even imagine. To me, as someone who's really obsessed with viruses, that's a science fact that really blows my mind.
All right, so that's pretty crazy. That's a whole lot of viruses. All right, so I told you earlier that they cannot reproduce on their own. And so they have to get inside of the cells of other living things. And so check out this clip, and it's going to show you just how that is done.
Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. A typical flu virus would travel inside a sac made from your cell membrane to your cell's nucleus that houses all its genetic material. The coronavirus, on the other hand, doesn't need to enter the host cell nucleus. It can directly access parts of the host cell called ribosomes. Ribosomes use genetic information from the virus to make viral proteins, such as the spikes on the virus's surface. A packaging structure in your cell then carries the spikes in vesicles which merge with your cell's outer layer, the cell membrane. All the parts needed to create a new virus gather just beneath your cell's membrane. Then, a new virus begins to bud off from the cell's membrane.
Okay, so step 1 is for the virus to get its genetic material into the cell. So that's what's in pink right now. And so once it is injected, it can choose one of two routes. The first one being lysogenic, and I always say lysogenic, chill for a minute. Basically, its genetic material is incorporated into the host cell, in this case a bacteria, in its DNA. And it can then enter into the lytic cycle, and that's when it'll eventually destroy the cell after it's made everything needed using the cell's machinery. And so I always say lytic, about to make you sick. So, as stated earlier, viruses have those proteins on the outside that allow them to get into certain cells. So they are specific to body systems. So not all viruses can get into all cells. For example, on this great graphic here, you can see that there are some viruses that can infect the respiratory system, like influenza. It's on the right side where it says pneumonia. There's some different STDs that can infect, sometimes it's skin, or sometimes it is the reproductive system. So they are all very particular. So really the only way that we can try to prevent viruses are through vaccines. And if you watch the whole video, this is just a clip of the video, it'll go into the history of vaccines and also some of like the pitfalls or bad parts about vaccines. But really our best bet at trying to prevent things are to, do as we're doing right now by making sure that we're washing our hands and doing that sort of stuff, but also to get a vaccine prior to being exposed to the virus.
How vaccines work. As great as memory cells are, obtaining them through an infection is unpleasant and sometimes dangerous. Vaccines are a way of tricking our bodies into making memory cells and becoming immune to a disease. They pretend to be a dangerous infection. One way of doing this is to inject invaders that can't do harm, for example by killing them or by ripping them into pieces. Our immune systems deal with these kinds of vaccines pretty easily. Sometimes it's necessary to make our immune system work harder, though, to produce even more memory cells. Live vaccines are the real deal. An enemy that can punch back is a bigger challenge than a dead one. But this also sounds like a sort of horrible idea. What if the germs win? To avoid that, we breed a sort of weak cousin of the real germ in the lab. Just powerful enough to annoy the immune system and create enough memory cells. Okay, so these are the basic principles of vaccine use. They provoke a natural reaction in our bodies that makes us become immune against very dangerous diseases. Some, like the flu virus, mutate so often that we need a new vaccine every year.
Okay, so your assignment for the week is to explore coronavirus by going to certain websites and kind of answering certain questions. And so that will be your day 2 assignment. I hope that you're having a great week. Know that all of your teachers miss you very much. We wish that we were in the classroom with you, and we love you. Have a great, great week.